Hi friends, welcome to the Happy Homemaker. Today I'm making a lemon blueberry cake. This is what it looks like after it bakes for about an hour and 15 minutes. It looks beautiful. It rises beautifully even with only half a teaspoon of baking soda. So it has a lot of lemon in it and a lot of blueberries. It's really easy to make. It doesn't have a lot of ingredients. It's not a fussy cake to make. That's something that I really enjoy about it. You can put this together in an afternoon very easily. It just takes a little bit of time to bake because it's a bundt cake. So you have to prepare the pan, you have to get all of that ready, but it's very easy. So I'm going to start first by preparing and spraying a bundt pan with Pam with cooking spray, and I don't have the baking spray there, but it's very easy to find. If you can find the one that's for baking, it makes it very easy because it has flour in it. And now I'm adding 2 sticks of butter to the mixer, and this is about room temperature. I put it in the microwave, which I know is awful, but I always forget to leave my butter out on the counter. And then I'm adding 2 cups of sugar. So this makes it very easy to start the creaming process if you have your sugar measured out ahead of time. So that's something that I try to do. I have all of my ingredients laid out, and I make it just easier on myself because then I can put the ingredients away once I'm done. So I try to clean up as I go so that the kitchen isn't a disaster by the time I'm finished. And now I'm putting together the dry ingredients there. So it's going to be 3 cups of flour, and you see that I'm fluffing up the flour a little bit and then leveling it off. And that's 1 cup. That's going to give you the most accurate measurement when it comes to flour. Flour is a little tricky in baking. If that flour were all compressed and you try to get the flour just by putting the cup measure in there once and getting it, your measurement of flour would be different than if you fluff it up and then level it off at the top. So that's 3 cups of flour. And then I'm going to open up the baking soda there. I was able to transfer all of my baking ingredients to these containers, which are great. I love them. Makes it so easy to measure everything. And that's half a teaspoon of baking soda. So the next thing is going to be salt. I use kosher salt because I love it, and that's half a teaspoon as well. So kosher salt, I think, tastes a lot better. And now I'm going to do something. I'm putting 1 tablespoon of flour on the blueberries because it helps them to become suspended in the cake. They don't all go to the bottom. So just do all of your prep work as the creaming is happening. I'm going to let that cream for about 5 minutes, and you'll see what that looks like. And I'll show you in the mixer what that looks like. But now I'm just putting things away, putting the flour away. And that's going to go in my pantry as soon as I am done cleaning up. And you see me wiping things down there. If there's a spill or something, I clean up as I go. So now the mixer is done mixing, and it's been about 5 minutes. And I try to scrape down the bowl. That's something that you have to be mindful of when you're using KitchenAid mixers. If you're using a hand mixer, you can just go over the borders of the bowl like that. So that makes it a little bit easier if you're using a hand mixer. But I love my KitchenAid. It's so fun. And I've had it for about 23 years. So it's been a good investment. Now I'm adding 1 egg there. I'm going to add 4 overall, but I like to add 1 at a time and let it mix in. Then egg number 2. And my arm is in the way there, but you can kind of see what I'm doing. The reason you add 1 egg at a time is because you want to give it time to mix in. It makes it a lot better. The batter becomes a lot more homogeneous if you make it like that. If you added it all at once, it may not mix in enough. You may not have the mixer going long enough for it to mix in. So I try to do it 1 at a time. And then, if you were to break that egg and it smelled bad, you would know that it's not a good egg to put in. So that's something else. Some people put it in a little bowl before they before they put it in with the batter, and that can be a good trick too. I just don't bother to do that because it's just something else to wash. But you can see me scraping down the bowl again after I mixed in the eggs. And this is such an easy cake, you know. It turned out delicious, I have to say. It went in about 2 days. It was a success. So when I filmed this, I was adding a lot of lemon, and that's something that I think that the amount of lemon in this recipe is perfect. So I'm adding 2.5 tablespoons of lemon zest there, and I had all of that prepped before I even started the cake. That's something that you should do. Have it all prepped ahead of time. And 1.5 tablespoons of lemon juice. So that's going to be just the right amount of lemoniness, if that's a word. And it's going to make the cake delicious. It really gives a nice taste to the batter. You know, I think the usual coffee cake, or this is kind of a coffee cake, or muffins that you usually have vanilla with blueberry, which is delicious, and I love that when I make muffins. But this cake and the lemon in it really gives it an edge and makes it really delicious. So one trick that I do here to have the fluffiest cake you will ever have, this is the trick. You add the dry ingredients in 3 installments, and you alternate it with the buttermilk that I have waiting there, as you can see. It's 1 cup of buttermilk. So I'm going to add about 1/3 of this mixture. Just eyeball it, just see, you know, what it looks like. About 1/3 of this mixture. And then mix it in with the rest of the batter. And I go a little faster at once to really mix it well. But you don't want to over mix your cake batter. If you are an experienced baker, you know that can make your cake a little tough. Now that's 1 cup of buttermilk. If you don't have buttermilk, just do 1 cup of whole milk with 1 tablespoon of white vinegar, or any kind of vinegar that you have. I like white vinegar because it's the one with the least amount of taste. And let it sit for 5 minutes, and that will give you the same taste as the buttermilk would. So that's a nice way to do it if you don't have buttermilk in the fridge. I always do because I'm always baking. So I always have a bottle of buttermilk in the back of the fridge. It lasts forever, and then I don't have to do the substitute. But if you need to, that's a great way to substitute. It makes it really easy. So that's the second installment. I go a little slower at first, then speed it up without over mixing. If you over mix, your cake will be tough and it won't rise as well. So you really want to keep it fluffy. And this is such a beautiful batter. You will see when I'm done. Now the rest of the buttermilk goes in. And you might think this takes a little bit of time, and it does, but that's what you need to have the fluffiest cake and the most tender crumb that you can have. So this is a very tender cake. It's very easy, and it's one of those things where you need to take the time to do it well. So that's what I always think about when I'm baking. If you're going to bake something from scratch, then there's no reason to try to rush through it. So there goes the third installment of the flour and last. And then I try to scrape down the bowl one more time to make sure everything gets in there. And I was kind of trying to get a little bit of batter off the beater because it's so delicious, especially after you add the blueberries. So that's a gift for the cook or the baker in this case. So I'm going to mix in this flour, and notice how little I'm mixing after I add the flour. You don't let this go for 5 minutes. You get a tough cake that way. So it's just enough to incorporate the flour, and now I'm scraping everything down as well as the beater. You'll see me doing that because I add the blueberries by hand. I don't like to add the blueberries with the beater. I think it beats them up too much. So one last mixing to get everything together, and then I will remove the beater. And this is the paddle attachment if you have a KitchenAid. It can be your regular attachment if you have a hand mixer. I had a hand mixer for years. The first one I ever got was $8.49 from Walmart when I was first married. We couldn't afford a KitchenAid, so that's what I used for about 2 years. And then my husband gave me this KitchenAid for Christmas, and it was one of the best purchases I've ever had, and I still use it. So I'm going to add the blueberries now and mix them in by hand. Try to fold them in. Try to be gentle. There's no reason to, to manhandle it. That's one way of putting it. And they are already coated with the flour, so it's perfect. And they're going to stay suspended in the batter, and it just take the time to mix them in. Go all the way to the bottom of the bowl and bring it over, and that will be perfect. So I'm going to put it in that prepared bundt pan that I had and try to smooth over the top. Make sure that it's nice and leveled. So you see me putting it back in there, and just try to eyeball it. Make sure that it's even. You don't have any craters or anything that's uneven when you put the batter in the bundt pan. So you see that it's a lot of batter. This cake makes enough for 12 people, I think, if you have smaller pieces. And it's just a regular size bundt pan. I think it's a 10-inch bundt pan, which is the regular size that most people have. So you should have everything to make this cake in your fridge. Even if you don't have buttermilk, you have milk probably, and you have vinegar, so you can make your own buttermilk. So that makes it really easy. So once again, the substitution for that is 1 cup of milk, preferably whole milk. Don't try to bake with skim milk. I don't like it. I think it makes the baking less rich. So 1 cup of milk and 1 tablespoon of vinegar, preferably white vinegar, but white wine vinegar also works. Don't use anything like red or apple cider. I think that would change the taste too much. So that makes it really easy to bake, and you can bake anytime with that kind of substitution. So that's what it looks like. You saw that I kind of smoothed the top a little bit to make sure that it's even. And this is going to go into a 325-degree oven for an hour and 15 minutes. So check it at about an hour, because ovens can be different. And as soon as a stick or a knife comes out clean, then your cake is ready. And you know how to bake a cake, I don't need to tell you, but that's what it looks like turned out. And you can see a shot of my living room there. And we have blue this time of year, but then I switch to orange when it's fall. So I keep everything very neutral, but we love the cake. And I have this nice blue cake pedestal there, and the cake was delicious. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. If you've made it this far, I hope you come back. And I post every Friday and every Monday. So I'll be here posting cooking videos, posting homemaking videos. It's my passion. I love to be a homemaker. It's what I love more than anything. So I'm really happy you were able to watch. And if you see that subscribe button, then subscribe so you don't miss any of my videos. So thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure to spend some time with you, and leave me comments in the comment section if you enjoyed this recipe and if you're thinking about making it. Thank you for being here. Bye.